100 emergency personnel here at the site, working through the night. Some of them have left, many of which have been replaced by other personnel. The efforts are ongoing today. I'd like to also address some rumors that have been going around. We've been made aware of some rumors. One being that Ms. Pollard has been found. That is false. We are still actively searching for Ms. Pollard. We are hopeful that she is found alive. I would like now to turn this over to Chief Batcha with the Unity Fire Department for his remarks. Thank you. Chief.
Thank you. Just to give everybody a quick update, at this point we've had a lot of resources here working the scene, from our local fire departments to a county-wide technical rescue team. We have had the Pennsylvania Task Force 1, Urban Search and locate Ms. Pollard. At this point, the scope of because of the situation of the mines is beyond sending rescuers in. We've hit that part about 3 o'clock this morning, I believe it was, that we've exceeded that capability. Our work is going to continue with electronics, cameras. We had a couple new cameras that have came to us recently that we're gonna make some attempt to see if we can any hope of locating where she's at in the mine area. At this point, our digging is going to continue with excavation with heavy equipment, and we're not going to be sending rescuers into the area because of the danger that it's in. This was an extremely labor-intensive operation. We started off with getting people ready to do a dig in the area where the initial collapse was. Doing it by hand. The things changed quickly whenever we ran into an oxygen deficient atmosphere, which meant at that point everybody that was going into that area to do that excavation work had to be on breathing apparatus. So that's one of the main things that we had. So we took a lot of resources, a lot of fire departments, the task force team that was here to get to keep going and working where we were at. This time we're still hopeful. We're going to keep working to see what we can find Mrs. Pollard. At this point, we're moving forward, but we're not sending rescuers into any of the mines. It is way too unstable. The Bureau of Mine people have been here. That is another whole concept, being that the fact that it's an abandoned mine versus an active mine. So it's a whole other animal trying to be able to send somebody into that. And that's pretty much all we have for you at this point.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions for either myself or the chief? Yes, sir.
From what you have been able to see, what is sort of the physical situation down in the mine? What does it kind of look like as you're moving cameras around down there?
Thank you. I'll let the chief speak to that.
Yeah, the best I can tell you, he asked about what the condition was in the mine. At this point, the roof of the mine has collapsed in several places. It's unstable. That's the biggest problem. We've been continuing to excavate and pull around. We used the biggest help that we had was a vacuum truck from our local municipal water authority that we were able to remove a lot of that dirt to try to excavate. We did get where we wanted, where we thought that she was at. We've been to that spot. What happened at that point, I don't know. Maybe the slurry of mud pushed her one direction. There are several different seams of that mine, the shafts that all came together where this happened at. The Bureau of Mines provided us some maps. They were hand-drawn maps from the 40s. So there's a lot of things that were written there. They're pretty good what they had, but we're to a point there that it's just not safe because of the actual collapse of the. It's just so old. There's nothing there. None of the shoring that was there is holding up anymore.
You mentioned that oxygen may be an issue down there, and obviously we're all trying to stay positive. But is that now a concern for Ms. Pollard? Absolutely,
it was oxygen deficient, but at the same time, We've had experts, many experts here from various areas. Many of the times we would blow air into, we have fans, special fans that are made for that, to blow air, fresh oxygen in. At the same time, though, that can also create another problem in a coal mine. It can actually pull methane back into an area where we didn't have methane. Right now, we had no explosive gases, so that was something that was thrown out early on because of the possibilities of what that could do. Obviously, we don't want an explosion when we're digging.
You mentioned that the roof of one of the shafts collapsed. Does that mean that there is a immediate danger to the surrounding area as well?
I can't answer. I am not a mine expert. That's something for the Bureau of Mines to answer that. But it is something that has happened. Keep in mind, we're 30 feet below ground, below ground level. So there's a lot of there's places where there's evidence that some of the roof has collapsed. How's that? In different parts of the mines where they were able to see.
We've been told that their crews are going to have to tear down some of the garage here at Mondays because of mine subsidence. Do you have any information as to that, if there's any structural issues with the garage, or is the restaurant in danger at all?
I can't speak to that. I'm not an expert in those areas, but we do have active involvement with the township and with the Bureau of Mine Safety. Those are things that they would be looking into.
Have you ever seen anything like this before in this area? Not necessarily a rescue, but a sinkhole of this severity?
Personally, in my experience as a trooper, I have not. Chief, I'll let you speak to that if you'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, this Western Pennsylvania is a series of coal patch towns, especially in this area. There's mines all through this area, and I'm sure the Bureau of Mines could give you a little bit more information on that. But they're out there. There's been sinkhole areas. You can probably go back and do some research. I know in the Latrobe area within the last 10 years that there was a house compromised from mine collapse. So it's here. It's prevalent. If you don't, one of the things I know the DEP pushes for this area, Department of Environmental Protection, is there's mine subsidence insurance, and there's maps that you can see if your house is over top of a mine. Definitely a smart thing to do, and they could definitely give you some more information about that.
I know we talked about the shoe that was found before. Has there been anything else found in that area or seen in that area that would make you wonder that is?
Yeah,
Chief, I'll
Probably
let you
in that
speak to
area?
Yeah, just real quick on that. When we were doing the initial searches and excavation, before we started excavating, there was a shoe that was located inside of there. It was seen with a camera. We never recovered that shoe, to my knowledge. It was never found. So where it went, it could have possibly went in the back truck. We don't know that at this point, but that was not located. There's been no other articles that we found. Is it possible a shoe fell off and she could have been pushed a different direction? We don't know that. That was seen on a camera early on.
I know it's hard to put this into maybe words, but you guys still sound a little bit optimistic that you're going to be able to find this pollard in this mine. I mean, time is of the essence here, though, right?
Time is certainly of the essence. We are still optimistic, and we need to be optimistic. We need to continue to have that mindset. We're continuing to ask for prayers from the community for Ms. Pollard and her family. We appreciate all those who have offered support. We really appreciate the many agencies that have been involved in this so far, not just here on site, but behind the scenes from other locations in other counties, state resources, and the community as a whole is really supporting us in this operation right now, and the family as well.
And if you're no longer sending crews down into the mines and you're just using technology and all of that, at what point does this search change or even stop?
It's an ongoing analysis as the investigation and the efforts progress in consultation with the experts, with the Bureau of Mine Safety, other experts as well in this field. The chief can speak to that, but it's an ongoing analysis based on what we're seeing, what we're discovering. So, Chief.
Yeah, and just to my left is Chief Graham. He's been the incident commander for this. This is his fire district that we've done. I've been the operations chief for this. And Mr. Michael Bardos, our township supervisor. We've all been in contact with making this happen. We're just to a point here that we can't send rescuers in an area where they could possibly be injured or killed. So that we're doing everything in proper protocols with utmost safety for our rescuers. It's unfortunate that that we didn't locate her right at the bottom of that hole where we assumed that she would be. What happened at that point, we can't answer that. We're still looking. We're doing everything we can to recover Mrs. Pollard at this point.
Chief, we saw that there was a robotic robot outlet. How important is it to have tools like that to help you guys in the search?
Absolutely, and we've used a lot of different electronics. That's why I said we just got access to a couple new things, some canines, the state police CERT team has some specialized cameras that they just brought into play, where we have another camera coming from the municipal authority, water authority, that they use for checking water lines and that kind of thing. So we've used everything to all those resources that we possibly can. Anything we can do to try to locate. And if we find something at that point, we find something that it could be a hit what we're looking at, that's where we stop. And we're going to work that one area, and if we need to go back in and hand dig at that point, then we will, but we're going to need to excavate around that to make that happen safely.
And are you still treating this as a recovery or a rescue, or how are you sort of deeming this right now?
We're not using that word recovery yet. We're close. You know, just because of the fact that we're, you know, the time frame involved at this point, we don't know the oxygen situation, but we're still actively looking. We're using these electronic devices. We're just beyond the scope of rescuers hands-on at this point because of the situations and the danger involved.
Chief, how is morale with all the searchers that have been here, over 100 people? How are these searchers doing?
The people that we called and came in here, the different rescuers, they were wonderful. They dropped what they were doing. They came in here. They ran rounds with air masks on, went through medical monitoring, jumped back in, said, hey, let me go again. They were great with all of that. So the personnel has been great. The technical support we received early on from the Pennsylvania Task Force USAR team, they were a huge help for us to make sure we were heading in the right direction, basically everybody's heads put together to come up with a good and safe plan for our rescuers and to try to locate her.
Chief, has there been like timber brought in to help shore up some of these ceilings that are caving in, or partial cave-ins, or for the safety of the guys going down in the mine?
Yeah, here's the thing. We've done all that. Definitely doing that before we even sent anybody in. That had to be done. But to go into the mines is not a safe thing, and that's what we cannot do. We don't have the technology or capability to do that, and I don't think that even the mine rescue teams that are out there don't really want to deal with that with an abandoned mine is the difference. If we're an active mine versus an abandoned mine, there's a huge difference there. Again, a question for mine safety.
To be clear on the timeline, you mentioned when you got to the spot in the sinkhole at the bottom where you thought you would find her. At what point was that, and then what was the next?
Honestly, it's been a kind of a blur for the last 24 or 36 hours, so I can't answer that right now with time frame. Sorry.
What would the plan be? I know you guys are trying to remain optimistic, but you're unable to send crews down right now. So what would the plan be if she was found?
Well, at this time, it's going to be excavation work. It's going to be if the electronic devices, hopefully we can find something, and once they locate, and then it's using the excavator to remove the soil away from that area and dig down to it. And again, we still have to do air monitoring, and if it's not safe at that point, we'd have to have people back on self-contained breathing apparatus to be able to enter those areas. And then, yeah, that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping we can locate something with the electronic devices and then move in for hand digging at that point.
Are there any resources that you don't have yet that you're still waiting on or hoping to get here in the coming hours or so?
No, every resource that we're familiar with, and Trooper Greenfield can add to that, has been here. We've used everything for the most part that's been offered to us. There's been a lot of resources from a lot of different places. The state, brought a lot of the state task force units brought a lot of things, but we had a lot of resources already in this area that we were able to utilize, and it worked great. Even on our county Department of Public Safety platform, they have quite a bit that we used early on.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. As we progress throughout the rest of the day, we will be providing updates to you as we can. Certainly, if there would be any significant developments, we would let you know, bearing in mind that we would be speaking with the family prior to announcing any major developments. And we've been in constant contact with the family, Just 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, we were speaking directly with the family, letting them know about this press conference and what we're seeing so far in the course of the investigation. So, thank you all very much.